And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection, your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. The real keys to a successful brainstorming session are positive emotions, laughter, ridiculous ideas, and absolutely no criticism of any kind. The group leader needs to ensure that no one says anything that throws water on the ideas of someone else. On today's Open Connection, Diana Penner of the Skeena Valley Senior Society has a debriefing with two other local agencies.
So October the 17th, 2022 at the Thornhill Community Hall, we had a brainstorming session. I was so thankful to have so many agencies show up, but we had a few missing. Would have been nice to have had the full scope of our community there. But having said that, we had 8 agencies represented by various different people. In your case, we had 2 people from Volunteer Terrace, yourself and Tracy, your executive director. And in your case, we had yourself and we had your executive or your chair there as well. So thank you for coming, Sandy, and for Danielle. We're just going to chat today about the outcome of the brainstorm session, and we're going to see. Obviously, you participated. I want to get your feeling, and I want you to tell us a little bit more about what you did at that time for the folks out there. So maybe we'll start with you, Danielle. What does Volunteer Terrace do?
For sure, yeah. I'm the seniors program coordinator there, and I'm new in the role, but it's really exciting because we offer a lot of services to the seniors in Terrace. And so when we presented at the
brainstorming session?
Thank you. When we presented at the brainstorming session, we talked about some of the programs that we offer, and I can tell you a little bit about that now. So we do the Better at Home program, which is hosted through United Way, which helps seniors to stay in their home longer. And so we offer light housekeeping, and we have 57 clients currently in Terrace. We do have a wait list for that. With that also, we do a friendly visitor program as well. So volunteers will go and visit seniors in their homes about once a week for an hour to just check in on them, play games, maybe do a puzzle, that type of thing. We also do transportation with that as well. So volunteers will drive seniors to medical appointments, things of that nature. We also have a Helping Handyman program. This is through Northern Health, and this also is to help seniors stay in their homes longer. So if they need a grab bar installed or if they need a wheelchair ramp built, we'll do that for them. It's not for beautification purposes, and we don't do things like roof repair or anything that would require going on a ladder. However, if it's something that could help them remain in their home longer, we have a handyman to help do those installations. And the senior would pay for the products, but then the wages to install them would be covered by our program. We also do spring and fall yard cleanup through the Helping Handyman program, and we also do Snow Angels, which has volunteers get partnered with certain seniors within the community, and they'll clear a pathway to make sure that emergency personnel can get to the door in case of an emergency. And we're really looking for volunteers for that right now. So if you're interested in volunteering to help clear a senior's driveway, please come see us at Volunteer Terrace. We also are doing a caregiving program right now. We have, I think, 9 students in it, and the students will be graduating in May of next year. And these will be caregivers that have had 700 hours of training, including like food safe, WMIS, first aid, that type of thing. So it's not a home care, so there's no like medical care, but it is there so that we can give respite to caregivers themselves so that they can go get a haircut or leave the house, and then also to support seniors who maybe don't have family and friends in town that are able to help them out with, you know, things around their home. That one we're looking for working on a funding model that won't be a traditional funding model. I don't know if any of the grants and whatnot that are out there now will fit it. So we're looking at maybe crowdsourcing or doing something like that to fund that one. We also do the BCCRN, which is BC Community Response Network. So this one helps to raise awareness about abuse, neglect, and self-neglect in vulnerable adults. So we do training called It's Not Right, and then also See Something, Say Something, to make sure that seniors aren't suffering from abuse. Yeah, we do a bunch of other things, but I'll maybe let you go into it.
A lot of that stuff was brought forward at the brainstorming session, obviously, for the people that arrived there. So we had almost 60 people that showed up that day, which was awesome, from all different aspects of the community. And then as you were talking, and then as I'm going to get from you in a second, I'm just going to try and paint a picture of what that looked like for those people that weren't there. So we ended up with flip charts sitting to the side, the panel sitting there, and the audience sitting, right? So we were noting the things that you were just speaking of on a chart. So we were just recording all these things as you were saying them. So maybe you can give us a little bit more insight as well, Sandy, and tell us what it is that hospice does, and then we'll continue sort of describing where we went with that brainstorming session and what the outcomes of that were.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. The notion of death is a rare topic of conversation, and as such, there are very few public discussions about dying and death. It is as if someone can avoid its inevitability by not acknowledging its reality. We cannot escape. Let us return to the conversation with Sandy Pringle.
That idea cloud that you guys put together was amazing, because it actually, I think everybody got the stickies, and then it was like the 3 most important things to you, and then people went and put them under their specific, like reaching a doctor, prompt medical care with chronic illness and things like that. Like transportation and housing was a big one. And it just gave people a voice to sort of these are the things that we are literally struggling with right now. Yeah. And I thought that was just brilliant. Terrace Hospice Society runs, obviously, the Vigiling program and grief support and all of that stuff, but we also have 2 programs underneath that. One is the Friend and Family Caregivers of the Northwest. So that is rather than caregiving, we support the caregiver. So women, men, daughters, sons, parents who are struggling at home by themselves, sometimes with full-time jobs and whole families at home, with a loved one, you're just hair straight back, flat out, and then on top of that you have a person who's struggling with chronic illness or a new diagnosis, or so it's actually supporting the person who's supporting the people. So if you're, let's say you're 83 and your husband's 85 and he's diagnosed with cancer, I don't know how many times I've seen the wife pass away first, just from the stress of caregiving. And so what we're trying to do is catch the caregiver, whoever that is in the family, whether it's a couple, catch that person before they also become a patient. Yeah. Because I can't tell you just how many, running on an empty cup, you've got a boss, you've got a husband and 2 teenagers in the house, and your dad is diagnosed with dementia, so finding ways to help people cope with the role of caregiving. So we have a yoga, where you don't have to necessarily get down on the floor, but it is mindfulness and breathing, and just that, 30 minutes or an hour in a day just for yourself can make the total difference. Or, having someone come in and sit with your care recipient while you just go for a walk with your friends on the Millennium Trail, right? Just ways to sort of find space for yourself, and also find, usually our caregiving volunteers were also caregivers for their own loved ones who have passed on, so they know where you're at, and they can meet you where you are and understand the joys and frustrations, right? Because this is a person you love. And, when you're, and talking about that, see something, say something, wonderful people can get stressed out. And then, we're not doing night meds, I'm too exhausted. We want people to be fresh and present and in a loving space. Yeah. And sometimes that just takes a little bit of self-care. Also through that program, we have the circle of care. So we come into the house, and, everybody around you loves you and is well-meaning, but often don't know how to help or how to ask how to help. So we help you sort of identify the people in your circle who could do a food chain dinner thing, or drop a casserole or a cake off, or play bridge with you, you know, and just be present, you know. So sort of like finding networks and being there for caregiving. And we also just started the NavCare. I'm the coordinator of the NavCare program, which is an amazing program put on by UBC, and University of Alberta kind of did a collab. And so our family kind of catches your family. Our hospice family could be at diagnosis. So through acute care now, not just through palliative care, we've added a piece where we can catch your family during acute care, move with you through that, help navigate some of the pitfalls and some of the scary parts of, like, you know, navigating, you know, the healthcare system. What does this mean? We can call an oncology nurse to sort of run you through a few things if you want, and just be there, like as a sort of like a little net, you know, when things go a little bit crazy. And that goes right up to palliative care when we just start, you know, kind of dealing with your symptoms now, or just comfort care, you know, symptom reduction and quality of life after, you know, this isn't getting better. But palliative care can last 2 minutes, 2 weeks, or 10 years, right? So, and how do we sort of facilitate the quality at home so you don't need to go, even if there was a place to go, which there is not in this town, I think we both know. You know, you're at home. So how do we make that home experience the best for your family? You can stay in your gym jams with your pets, you know, and hopefully with the hospice piece, because I think we'd have a few complementary programs, which I just love for us. But from the hospice piece, like, we can then move you comfortably on to death and dying in your own space with your people, and then help your people on with grief support after the expected death at home. So, and with that, we're sort of liaising with Northern Health to be able to speak with them about what's happening, because staffing shortages, money's a problem here like it is everywhere else, like, and that is no criticism, that is just the reality after the pandemic, right? And so, like, this groundswell of kind of like community grassroots support is kind of where everything needs to come, especially with that silver tsunami of you know, that's coming with and a lack of infrastructure up north with a rural perspective. So I love your programs, and I can't wait to cross-pollinate, because you do a lot of stuff that we kind of do, but we sort of have a very like hospice perspective. So it would be sort of nice, like, to share our clientele so that they're getting a multi-pronged support. Like, we don't stop because you start, you don't stop because we start, like that sort of working together. And the need for volunteers is something else. And I know that there are such good people in the community, and they see the need. It's like, here's a few parameters in which you can actually help, you know, your neighbors and friends and people you know in your community.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. The 4 key steps to an effective brainstorming session is to lay out the problem you want to solve, identify the objectives of a possible solution, try to generate solutions individually, and once you've gotten clear on your problems, your objectives, and your personal solutions to the problems, work as a group. Let us return to the conversation as Diana shares some of the results of the brainstorming session.
So that's one of the things that we discovered when we were doing that chart, right? So, I mean, we took information from you, information from City of Terrace, information from Regional District, information, you know, on and on from these people. And then we asked, you know, the audience, so now what are you actually experiencing? And did that list get bigger? Yeah, it did. So, and then, like you say, then we asked, once we looked at, you know, now we have 3 flip charts full of all sorts of stuff that people have identified from the audience. We took it apart while people had a coffee, and then we reassembled it under what we defined as being categories. And so we ended up trying to put together some sort of a report in the end. And if I have the right glasses on, maybe I can read the report, and maybe I can't. But you guys are going to receive that report. It should have actually received or go to you today. But I'll see if I can find the color version of that. But we took apart things into the categories of, they ended up being shelter, was one of them, so all the things wrapped around housing, medical concerns, transportation concerns, financial concerns, and social concerns. And then we took all those things that were identified under those categories and stuck them back on the flip charts, right? And then you alluded to the fact that then we asked people to pick their top 3. So people went with their little stickies and did that. And then we took that data back afterwards and we compiled some stats. So that's what you're going to get on your report, and that's a report that's going to be available to the community as well. So, and is available. We're trying to link it to our website, which is still growing, and we're still a fairly young, society, and we're not quite there. But having said that, we ended up with our biggest need being shelter. So under shelter, there was 30% of the people were concerned about shelter. 72 issues were identified.
Wow.
So if we took those 5 categories and we then separated them, we have shelter at 30%. We have medical at 16%, so that's medical care, cost of medical care, difficult transportation, cost of pharmaceuticals, pharmacare, the whole 9 yards. Transportation was at 14%, the ability to get here, to be able to get on something, to afford to be able to go somewhere. So that was fairly broad as well. Financial, how do we afford to do any of this stuff? The repairs that are necessary in a home, the cost of medical is now more important than the cost of my food, filling in forms so that you can apply for stuff. But oddly enough, the one that surprised me was our last category, which was social. And when we took all of those stickies apart, social rose to 25%.
Wow.
Wow.
25%. Social represented abuse, neglect, undervalued,
Isolation. Yeah.
Unheard. Though I was like, holy smoke, I was very surprised. However, having said that, medical and transportation and financial problems lead you to feel that you're not being heard, lead you to feel that you're not being respected, lead you to feel that you're inconsequential in our community, right? What a sad picture that is for us as a society. So I have to say, my heart almost broke when I did these stats. And I was just like, holy smoke, I was astounded by that.
Yeah.
So, because we hear about housing being a problem, and we hear about people not being able to get onto Handy Dart. I went to Handy Dart, and somewhere along the line, when I walked into the door, and our PW Transit does a wonderful job with Handy Dart. They do. But most people aren't using it anymore, and one of the reasons is they have a 4-page application form that for a lot of people is not even possible to fill in. Like,
I have a client who can't see very well, and because she needed some transportation, so I sent her the form, but she's like, I can't even read it.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
As Minister of Seniors, I've met with older Canadians from coast to coast to coast and have seen firsthand the immense contributions seniors have made. Older Canadians hold a special and unique place in our families, workplaces, and communities, and they play a key role in our country's diverse social fabric. Today and every day, we remember the generations of Canadians who came before us and the impact they have made today and for generations to come. It is important for us to recognize, appreciate, and connect with the seniors in our lives. We also take this day to acknowledge the important work that lies ahead of us to ensure seniors in Canada receive the best possible care, no matter where they are. After a lifetime of hard work, seniors deserve to live with security and dignity in their retirement years. We're here thanks to the courage seniors demonstrated in paving the way for a better future. On National Seniors Day, show your love, gratitude, and appreciation for the seniors in your life. Say thank you. Call and take some time to catch up.
In 1971, one person drove a privately owned vehicle to deliver disabled people to necessary medical appointments. This person inspired the beginnings of the Carefree Transportation Society. Based on its success, the Handy Dart system was created. In this final segment of Open Connection, Diana shares some of the challenges some seniors are facing using Handy Dart.
Well, the day I went in to talk to them, on the phone was somebody trying to get in on a Handy Dart, and the question was, well, have you filled in the application? She hadn't filled in the application. Well, can I send it to you by email? I don't have email. Well, can I get it to you? Well, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't get to it because I don't have transportation. Do you have a family member that can come and get it? No, I'm sorry, I don't.
We can help with that. If anyone needs help with paperwork filling out, I can print it out for you. I can send it to you. If you can come in, or if you want to do it over the phone, we can do that. We help with paperwork completion.
Yeah, so it's wonderful to have agencies that can do that. I mean, they can do that at Handy Dart for that matter. The answer that I received there was, we can put it on a bus that's going out to your area, and then you can meet us there. Oh, but now you have to meet them at the bus stop, and that's not a problem. You're already asking for Handy Dart. Like, it's almost an oxymoron, you know? Like, so we have, so Skeena Valley Senior Society has since had meetings with Transportation Network, so with our Handy Dart representatives provincially.
Awesome.
And we yesterday presented to the City of Terrace the importance of transportation, and we're meeting next month with the Regional District about the importance of transportation. And we will do everything within our power collectively, hopefully with our agencies, to be able to improve that. So the other question that came to the front with regard to that, for example, was, can you prove to us that there's a need in our community? Well, I will tell you that this lady who phoned up the day that I went in there will not be phoning again, because she has already recognized that they can't meet her need.
Yeah.
She will have given up. And this is probably what's happened over the last however many years, and there are probably many people who will never even try because they've already come up against the barrier that they don't see as being resolvable.
Right.
So if we just think of the population that's out there, that was the other surprise. So we talked about that, right? We talked about the fact that we have 17,000, almost 18,000 people in Terrace. So when we did a stats thing that showed the population, and out of that 17,472 people, 33,760 are seniors. So age 60 to 89, and I think we can fairly do that. We didn't pick 55, we didn't pick 50. 60 people are already going down that road. So that's 21.5+%. So 1 out of every 4.6 people.
Yeah.
So 1 out of every 5 people is a senior.
Yeah.
You know what actually shocked me, Diana, was the amount of homeless seniors in this community, like just unseen.
Yes.
And I had no idea. Like, I work for hospice, so like obviously house is in the name of that. And I knew that there were some seniors who were like, struggling and underhomed.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that people were stopping by Volunteer Terrace for Depends because they're aged and incontinent, and they're
Unhoused.
on the street.
Yeah.
They're not drug addicts.
No.
They're not struggling with anything else but poverty.
Yeah.
And it's barrier after barrier after
barrier.
And even if you are sort of underhoused and you're couch surfing with friends,
What a disgrace.
Yes, I agree.
And
what a shame as a country to have these people who have worked their entire life to now be in a position where they can't afford to live.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. Please set your PVR so you will not miss the second half of this discussion of local organizations working together to help our seniors. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.